What are the top tools to bring to the field when going out to scout? On this episode of Top 3, I brought in Darren Hefty on the Agronomy Answers podcast to discuss what his top 3 are versus mine. Let's get into it. Darren, thanks for joining me on this episode of Top 3 Tools to Bring to the Field when Scouting. I think you have a bunch more than 3, but we're going to have to narrow down this list, all right?
Well, first of all, I drive a Dodge Ram pickup with Ram boxes, and man, has that changed my life. I used to throw these tools in my back seat or in the box, and now I can have them covered, protected. That's kind of nice because you never know what weather's going to throw you when you're out in the field.
So this is your first time on Top 3. Basically how it will work is one of us will start our third option, then 2, then 1, and we'll each go up through there. We might add in some honorable mentions in between 2 and 1 just to kind of throw in, since we have a bunch of different things we could do. So do you want to start with your number 3, or do you want me to
Sure,
start?
I'll start. Well, number 3 for me is a knife. And people say, okay, what are you going to do with the knife? And then, of course, you look at what knife you bring out and you say, that's not a knife. You need a big knife, right? But what I like to do with the knife, a couple different things. First of all, in season, I want to split open stalks. I want to get to the center and see, okay, what's going on in there? Do I have good development inside the plant? The best way to do that's with a knife. The other thing I like to use it for is when I'm looking at the seed furrow. I like to do, I'll dig across, or I'll just run my knife and cut across. Now I've got a clean edge that I can see. Did I have good down pressure? Do I have sidewall compaction? Where's my seeding depth at? All those things. So I use the knife for a variety of purposes.
That is a good one that didn't make my top 3, but my third one is a soil probe. I feel like whenever I'm going out to the field, there's always either pulling pre-sidrous nitrate tests or just in bad areas versus good areas, looking at the soil, sending in some soil and just seeing what's actually going on out there. If you had downed corn, stuff like that. I feel like
it's pretty
a
nice,
soil probe is pretty good.
One of my honorable mentions, Zach, that I'll mention is going to be my cell phone, and I always have that along. But it's nice because you can find GPS coordinates. So if you do pull a soil test or have a problem area, you can mark it. That's kind of nice. So you can keep an eye on that spot throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's a good one. What about your number 2?
Well, number 2 for me is a sweep net. And one of the things that I got to do as a younger person out on the farm is I got to do a lot of the dirty work. And one of them was, hey, go out in the wheat field, run the sweep net, see what you see for bugs. Hey, go out in the alfalfa field, sweep for bugs. Hey, go out in the soybean field, sweep for bugs. And I thought, man, I have to sweep the sheds. I have to clean up after the livestock. I'm always cleaning, and now I'm sweeping out in all these fields too. But it was so cool. And one of the things my dad told me to do, he said, run the sweep net, then catch everything in the net, and then just open it up slowly and see what you got. And so one of the first times I did, he said, what did you see? And I said, about like 12 different kinds of bugs in there. He goes, great. What was the what was the ID of every one of those bugs? And I said, I only recognize like 2 of them. He goes, here's your homework. Go learn the other 10. And so that was a big thing for me of, I better understand all these. And I said, well, I knew these 2 because they're ones that we've had to spray for before. And he said, that's good that you looked at the ones that could hurt the crop, but maybe the other ones can too. They just haven't been in a big enough number. And one thing we see from year to year is different bugs out in the field. And some years, one of them blows up, whether it's woolly bears or thistle caterpillars or something that has never been a problem. Now it's a problem. If I catch them in the sweep net, I'm going to find out what they are.
That's another great one that didn't make my list, but I do like sweep netting and just seeing what you find out in the field, because you never know. You walk out in the field and you're like, oh, there's not too many bugs out here. You sweep net and you're like, oh my gosh, there's all these different things out here. And then just being able to discuss those 2 and see what you have, because there's also beneficials that could be out there too.
Absolutely.
And that you don't want to kill on the other hand, so there's both ways. But my number 2 is the tile spade, your favorite tool, probably.
Don't give anything away just yet.
Which I don't know if it's going to be your number 1, but it's your tool you love to talk about. And, a tile spade or a shovel, just being able to dig up roots all the way, because you cut off a lot of roots if you're just ripping them off the ground and stuff like that. That's a great way. Another thing is we've done it checking compaction as you're walking throughout the field, but being able to dig up whatever plant it is just is really beneficial to see what the roots are doing below ground, because you could also find problems going later into the season if you found where there was bad planting issues, you could then dig those up later and find kind of what's going on there. So that's what my number 2 is, the tile spade or the shovel.
All right, so I'm going to give an honorable mention here before we get to number 1, and that is a soil penetrometer. And when you're wondering about compaction, you mentioned you can use the shovel. That's my preferred method for finding compaction, but it doesn't tell you a number. And if I'm challenged, well, what kind of number can you put on it? Well, 200 pounds jumping on the shovel couldn't drive it in. Well, that's not very good. But what a penetrometer can do is it can tell you a number of how many pounds per square inch it's going to take to push through the compaction. And, at a certain point, roots aren't going to be able to get through that. So maybe you want to use the penetrometer. The challenge for me, and the reason that it's not on my list, is because we're dry so often that the ground is just hard and just needs a rain. So that's why it only made honorable mention. Do you have an honorable mention before we move on?
I do, and it's probably the one that we should have. That should be both of our number 1s, but it's not on it. Sunscreen for both of us. If we didn't have sunscreen on, we would have not a fun day.
It's long sleeves. It's a wide brimmed hat, Zach. There's other alternatives here.
That too. If you want to have your arms out, though, you're gonna have to have sunscreen on or your face.
Then you got the farmer tan.
Yeah, no, you don't want that either. So it's either a long sleeve hat or just putting on sunscreen.
Yeah, okay. I can give you that. The other would be bug spray to go along with that because, man, we get a lot of mosquitoes up here. But my real number one is the tile spade. And as you mentioned before, it just serves so many purposes. You can do a lot of digging. You can check stands and do some digging along, trying to find seeds that didn't grow, that kind of thing. One thing that kind of my cheat with that is I'll slide the tile spade in on its side so I can flip a hole like 18 inches of row over, and then I can see, okay, now if I was supposed to have seed spacing every 4 inches, I should find 4 seeds in that 18-inch flip. So there's a couple things that I like to do with it, but I'm checking for compaction. That's a big deal. One other tool that could have made honorable mention is a post hole digger. And I used to carry a post hole digger with me everywhere I went for 2 reasons. One, it was my grandpa's, and I found it back in the corner of his shed, and I thought, this is cool. This is a tool my grandpa used to use. In fact, it was damaged. He repaired it. Maybe not great, but he did repair it, and I thought that was kind of neat too. But what I would do is dig a post hole, and then I could stick my arm down in the hole and run a knife up through it and check for compacted layers. It was really visual with other farmers, because sometimes when I'd just push the tile spade in the ground, I found farmers got defensive and they would be like, no. And then they'd really push hard and really put all their weight on it. Just, no, it's not bad. It's not bad. But you really can't deny when you dig a hole and try and pull a knife up through, if they can't pull a knife blade through it, that's compaction. So that's my list.
All right, my number 1 is the phone. I don't even know how many pictures I'll take in the field, whether it's bugs, weeds, the crop, just in general, so many different things, because as being a younger agronomist, there's a lot of things that I don't know yet. And so it's a great way to send in pictures or to look up things while I'm out in the field, or to FaceTime someone to see, what are you seeing when you find this out in the field? All the different weeds, all the different insects, diseases. I just use it all the time when I'm out in the field, just taking pictures of everything I see so that I can discuss it later with an agronomist if I don't know exactly what it is. Yeah. So for me, and you didn't grow up being able to do that, so that's like the first thing, just take pictures of everything, because then worst case scenario, you can be like showing someone else, like, this is what I saw. So for me, the phone is definitely my number 1 tool.
Okay, I am shocked by this, Zach. I'm absolutely shocked, because all of the things that you mentioned, younger generation, technology, all these things, I thought for sure it was going to be a drone. I thought, it's the drone. I can fly over the field. I don't have to walk the field. And I can get so much more done that way. And I thought, man, he's going with the drone for sure. So I'm not adding that onto my list. But now that you didn't take it, I'm putting it onto my list as well, because, man, if you've got a drone, you can see the whole field and you can see patterns across the field. Nature doesn't happen in straight lines. And when you see straight lines at an angle across your field, or even just straight down the field, that's something I did. And that really helps me if I can figure out, okay, it was something we did with how we tilled in the herbicide, or how we sprayed the herbicide, or whatever, how we planted. that is often helpful for me too. So never forget that drone.
Yeah, the drone's always in the back pocket too. There's just so many tools. We couldn't get to all the tools. There's probably 10, 15 tools that we'd bring to the field.
There are a lot.
We didn't even get to the tape measure, doing stand counts. That's not even on one of the ones we talked about. There's just so many good tools, but it's a good topic to discuss, our top 3 tools that we'd bring to the field. Thanks for watching or listening to this episode of the Agronomy Answers podcast. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.